Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for introduction. Andrei, I would like to introduce my guests, wonderful speakers, Alexander Laryanovsky, Skyeng managing partner, and Dmitry Krutov, founder of Skillbox. Thank you very much for coming. It's a great pleasure to see you here. The question is about quality. I would like to start, and I believe it will be very interesting on discussing how important is that. We have the ranking on revenue. We've been doing it for 3 years, and everybody understands who has a bigger revenue, who has a smaller revenue, but who is better? This is the question which is of interest for us. Let us discuss. Is it what is better, a big studio teaching design than a big platform? Is it a content or technology? Does like center trains entrepreneurs? Let us start with that. Alexander, what do you think is the key factor when we speak about quality of education? I believe that it's very good that the market grew enough to raise such a subject. The initial stage is in the past, and I believe that there are two parameters which we shall emphasize. One, expectations of a person from education and the result. What is the correlation between them? We've done one serious point. These expectations are the product of education which took place in the past, when a person realizes what to expect. And their marketologists did not catch this person using some tricks, and the person had expectations, which means that somebody educated this person to have these expectations. If the expectations meet the result, it means that the product was of high quality. For example, when we come to cafeteria, we can make coffee ourselves, and we can compare what we expected and what we had as a result. This is the first story. And the second story, which is better measurable, is how to which extent the share of academic expenses exist in the economy of the project. I will give an example. There are two hospitals, and you need to go to these hospitals. Hospital number one is in the very center of Moscow, very accessible, and the rent is about 70% of its economy. And the second hospital is in remote district, and 70% of their budget is the salaries of doctors, etc. Which one would you prefer? This criteria is the key one. It's very difficult to have debates about that with Alexander, because he's always right. I will add one more idea about quality. I do not agree with Alexander that we are at the point when quality is very important. Then why are we talking about that? I will explain. Wait a little bit. To my point of view, we have the market which is saturated with content, and digitalization will take another 5 years, and we will digitalize that, comparing technologies, and maybe in 5 or 3 years we will see the real conversation about quality. There will be more companies represented, the market will be more diverse, and it will be better for smaller players. They will understand their place in this process. I believe that the key idea now is to measure the quality. How we do that? The problem when we apply our SATCOR, etc., other standard metrics, and apply them, some abbreviations which probably not our audience is not familiar with, you can ask us questions. All these metrics are about how good we are. And to my point of view, it's very important to find some client-oriented, client-centric metrics which will allow us to identify what are the expectations, how the expectation was formed, as Alexander say, because SATCOR, it's about the producer is a very good person, did a good job, and of course the dress is beautiful, and studio is very cool, equipment is very expensive, like here, for example. But I believe that we are on our way to develop other metrics of the listeners, metrics of the students, and we have to start to talk about that. It's a big problem related to the fact that we need to formulate, to articulate the goal, the objective of education. This is something that impedes many people. We live in the world of stereotypes, where to go, what to study. Very often, people come to developer of any programs because they don't know what to do. And after that, this person is told that it's possible to be trained as an interior designer. And there is no understanding of what I need. And this is the problem. If a person comes to become web designer, you understand that there are many web designers, many of them, or this profession is not in demand. But for you, it's more profitable to train more web designers. The question is why this person wants to be a web designer. How the person came to this conclusion. We have 6 to 7 months for choosing. We organize more than 2,000 webinars a year, inviting experts from Russia and abroad. And this awareness campaign allow people to visit our lectures, lectoriums, webinars. They see different people and they choose the best person. And they have already tried that. Shall we believe their client, speaking about the client-oriented things, because the person can have a very strange or wrong understanding of what he or she wants. On the one hand, I would agree with you that we need to help a client to form the expectations. It's a very good thing. You want to buy an apartment, for example, and that would be great if somebody asks you 20 questions, so you realize what you want. And after that, yes, I'd say it would be great to avoid such problems. But some Yandex navigator recommends you, for example, the route. If you do not believe the navigator, you can do it your own way, but it's a very useful thing. But on the other hand, if we take all the adult population of our country, 70 million people, and we sort them based on the criteria of motivation to education, and this 1% of the population are those who are mature enough, I might say so, who came to our webinar, who has awareness. We can help this person. And the closer this person is to the top level of this graph, we shall not impede the way. And we have a long tail of 70 million people who do not think about education. So for them, it's better to come to be trained for any profession, but they will not come. That's the problem. And here we have a very specific moment. The people about whom Alexander is talking now, he says that they will not come, but very often they come, they have a certain desire for something very trendy, for employment, for discounts. This is what attracts them. This is the part of the audience which doesn't know what to do. They are lost to a certain point of view. And for many of them, this choice, it's a very sad example actually. A person came to be trained to become a designer, but then he or she realizes it's not something that he or she wanted, and we just waste time. I understand that any limitation on the program, because this is only this program, it leads to the situation when a person is within the frames which are not natural for him. It's not about this person, it's about us, and it's a problem. Just a moment, sorry for interrupting. All these people can be divided in accordance with the pyramid of needs. And we will realize that there are people who have money and time to learn something just because we offered discount, I think 5%. That's maximum. It's your audience. This is the audience which is your target audience today. Going back to the quality of education, I believe that the maximum result can be achieved as an impact for the rest people. We don't know how to work with them. These are people who work 13, 15 hours a day to make, let's say, 300,000 rubles a month, which is a perfect salary in our country. The country spends a lot of money every year to have 30,000 of graduated students. Education is something that doesn't make any sense. Thank you very much. I have already studied at the university for 5 years or more years. Thanks, that was enough for me. Our teachers, school teachers, who work 14 hours a day, they do not have time to look around and ask, can we do something? Their planning horizon is a week. This is the period for which they have money, they have salary, resources to buy only the necessary things for their family. This is the key moment when we speak about the quality of education. We can provide the maximum of boost for these people. If we can reach them, we can provide the product after which they will have a result. Result should be a very good salary. Let's say a piece of bread, because the 1/3 of the population lives in poverty. These are people with whom it's a great pleasure to work, and we can explain why this person should choose this profession. And learning, going to their level and speaking their language and achieve results at this level. And the same with children and teenagers. School teachers work with motivated audience because they need a new result. Speaking about employment, if we talk about employment as a target, don't you think we forget about people who are not interested in employment? Can it be additional metrics of personal education? Employment is not correct metrics, I think. I would go back to the Alexander's idea, because he was speaking about quality. A person with an average salary of a student and Skillbox is 30,000 rubles. This person is a student, studies, and what's important, what we will teach this person. One target is to meet the requirements of hard skills, some basic requirements to what a person should know, and other aspect is cultural aspect is very important to measure in addition to soft skills. From the point of view of cultural level, will this person be employed by Yandex, Skyeng, etc., and how can we impact on that? And here we come to the very important component, which everybody likes to divide everything on online and offline. We are not engaged in online education. We have mixed format where our target is to provide environment using conferences, workshops, seminars, and personal check of homework, diploma projects, internships, etc. How a person comes to the profession. And this is the environment when a person does not only corresponds to the diploma project. If a person passed an exam or test, but this cultural element, culturological element is very important. I will continue Dima's idea. When I don't know how to resolve the problem, I start from the very bottom level, maths, physics, biology, etc. Every person, not only person, but we're talking about people, is trying on the biological level to maximize its participation. This is something that our brains pushes us to do, and education resolves two issues. First, you train your neuron networks to forecast, to predict what will happen, which will increase your level of happiness. And dopamine, serotonin, other, and something else that makes you happy because you bought something, because you did something, because you made something with your own hands. And it's not clear how to measure it. The key metrics can be the level of hormones. We shall move towards this direction. If we make a person a little bit happier, it means we didn't waste our time. We check the rankings of the global education universities. They understand quality like a quality of product, how great the professors are. I had a conversation with the rector of one of the private in the university. He said that we have a very difficult selection, very difficult exams, very difficult study. We have only few people, but maybe these people will not be happy. And he says that this is the quality. Here we replace one term with another. Let us make a test. Let us go back to 1,000 years ago and ask Oxford or Stanford University founder if he or she wants to give this education to all the population of the earth. And they would say yes, but they cannot do that. They cannot upscale their universities to this level. That is why they are forced to do that, and they cannot go down to the earth from the level where they are and to go to the very bottom of this pyramid. If they could, of course, somebody who wants to go to the top, it's easy to assist such people. Of course, there can be the selection process like in professional sports, but we need to do it healthier. Very good perspective for your companies to be even bigger. We are still at this small distance. We are taking 1.5 clients from one company to another, and we are trying to save our comfort, to be somewhere in this cozy puddle where we swim. There are big stereotypes about universities, about where I shall study, and this stereotype track in the obligatory educational programs. Those people who are graduated from the universities, especially those who have some orientation which is not related to their professional activities, and after that, these people come and retrain in our company. Is it possible to overcome that? We can collaborate with the universities. I believe this is the only way, and to demonstrate that universities has one objective, and we have to do something else, and we have certain success in this sphere. Maybe we shall go to schools and demonstrate the school pupil that they can graduate from school with already having procession.
Thank you, Dima and Sasha. I'm told that we got lots of questions. Let's move on to the Q&A segment, and we got quite a few questions. Yes, we have a wild chat here, and the question is very interesting. And you really have to ask that. This is to Dmitry Krutov and from Nikita Kamensky. Does it make sense to make good content in EdTech if everyone competes in marketing? My short answer is yes. Dmitry really loves short answers. Are you going to argue about it? Content is the only thing that will matter in education in terms of bringing technology into it. All right, Dmitry, we have more things, and this is a question to you from Evgeny Buyanov. Mail.ru, Unite, Skillbox, Skill Factory, and so on. Is this the trend in the market? If you don't get larger, you are going to die. We have the ambition to bring together the biggest, strongest team, and we are sure that it's no longer the Russian tech. We just purchased a company in Brazil. We are going to the global market. We need the best people in our country as well. This one is to Alexander. There will be some who will be making their projects. This is from Maxim Lazarev. Which area of online education has the greatest potential in the next 3 years? We have holes everywhere and gaps. The question is about what is your interest. You don't go into education just to make money. It's like in medicine or healthcare. Go to where you have some knowledge or skills. Don't just think about the money. It's short-term, but life is longer, and you will spoil your reputation. This is a great situation because the moderator usually sets the tone for the discussion, and but Daria here is a player, an important player in this market, and she gets a special question from her namesake, Daria. Isn't there a problem that people only learn a little bit here and a little bit there without going deeper into their profession, and people also study to just learn something, not to get some professional development? It's interesting that this was a question to me. I keep talking about high quality in EdTech. At the same time, we have a project in info business when we talk about content. When we are done with the study, we will see whether people are bringing more money into that area where there are no problems with employment. If you have to select between watching Instagram, when we show photos of cats and things like that, when it's just out of curiosity, and discovery in that sense is better than any soap operas. But if the person turned away from the TV and started some kind of personal development, that's already a victory. Info business also has to do with covering all this mess that will later take to large tech companies. People from Michelin star restaurants, they could be saying that the fast food or small vendors next to the metro station are bad. No, there's room in the market for everyone. People need a basic understanding of what is delicious or what is not. We have more questions here. To Dmitry this time. From Artem Pichugin. Why employers distrust those people who got education over online courses if you say this is high-quality education? I don't know why employers distrust people like that. This year, we employed more than 5,000 people, and there are some top brands among those companies. I think that often it's everybody's fault. Maybe some overestimated their merits as they went through a curriculum. You can ask anyone who got some training. Show your final work. We all have digital trace, footprint. We can all show what kind of cases or projects or diploma work that they did. And if they don't have it, they perhaps didn't do a good job learning. And you cannot really a bad student with us because it's all checked by the industry, by the future employers. You cannot get a C mark for your project or a satisfactory mark. It's either good or bad. If the person who comes to try to get a job and they cannot even show the window of the platform where their work is downloaded or uploaded to, maybe he's a cheater. We have 750 universities of the second rate. Some sort of regional technical university trained lawyers. Does this diploma matter at all? Top 50 universities are fine, but we have lots of other universities, and the formal system of education has also problems with reputation. Our main employer in the country is the government, the state. And it's not just officials, but I'm talking about state-run companies from Sberbank and to Rostelecom and Rosneft try to get a job there without a university diploma. It's a kind of an education tax you have to pay to get this paper. It's your entry ticket, that's it. But the situation is changing now, I believe. Now, in the last, 1,000 years, in the last 3 years, try to get a job, being anyone, to a state-run company with your Skillbox diploma. We have a higher education program there for the purposes of employment, right? Do we have time for more questions? No, we will have mercy on our speakers, even though there are some questions in the chat, because the answers will be quite long. We'll take time from the next speaker doing that. Thank you very much. And Alexander and Dmitry, that was great. Thousands of people are watching, and you'll get more questions in your private account.